There are watch companies that preserve tradition. There are others that refine it. And then there is Corum, a company that repeatedly took Swiss watchmaking apart, turned it sideways, placed movements inside gold coins, suspended them behind crystal, carved hour markers into bezels, and transformed nautical flags into a language of time. Its emblem is not a crown, a shield, or an animal. It is a key pointing toward the sky, a symbol of unexplored territory and the determination to unlock it. Since 1955, Corum has produced some of the strangest, boldest, and most technically expressive watches ever to leave Switzerland. Some became icons, others divided opinion, but almost none could be mistaken for anything else. This is the story of Corum, the key of time since 1955. Welcome to Horology Guide and the episode number 36 from the History of Watchmaking series. And it begins with a man who walked away from one of Switzerland's greatest watch companies to create something entirely his own. Corum's story begins with René van Wert, a longtime fixture in the watch industry. Born into the world of Swiss horology, Van Wert began his professional career at Patek Philippe in 1933. In 1940, he joined Omega, where he became deeply involved in product creation and eventually led its creative department. That experience mattered. Van Wert understood that a watch could succeed through more than technical accuracy. Shape, proportion, symbolism, and visual identity could be just as powerful as the movement inside. But by the mid-1950s, he wanted complete freedom. His uncle Gaston Ries already possessed decades of watchmaking experience and operated a workshop in La Chaux-de-Fonds. Van Wert brought creative direction. Ries brought manufacturing knowledge. In 1955, uncle and nephew combined their strengths. They were not creating another conservative Swiss manufacturer. They were building a laboratory for ideas. The name came from the Latin word quorum, meaning the minimum number of people required to make a valid decision. Van Wert removed the letter Q and simplified it to Corum. It was short, international, and unusual. The logo was equally deliberate, a key pointing upward representing the unlocking of new territory, innovation, precision, and the pursuit of success. The company was established in La Chaux-de-Fonds, one of the great centers of Swiss watchmaking. Yet from the beginning, Corum resisted disappearing into that tradition. Its first watches appeared in 1956, and the young company quickly gained recognition for its creativity. Rather than developing one safe design and endlessly modifying it, Corum adopted a more dangerous philosophy. Every new model had to justify its existence. It needed an idea, and preferably an idea that nobody else had dared to attempt. Corum officially traces its creation to 1955, with the first collection following in 1956. The early catalog already revealed Corum's intentions. The 1956 Charge d'Affaires was an alarm watch, capable of producing a clear chime, lasting more than 12 seconds. Then came the Golden Tube, with its movement housed inside a slender gold tube, an early experiment in arranging watch mechanics vertically. In 1958, the Chinese hat challenged conventional case design with a form inspired by a traditional conical hat. These watches were not connected by a single visual formula. That was precisely the point. Corum was exploring sound, architecture, texture, and cultural forms. While established manufacturers relied on familiar round cases and restrained dials, Corum treated the wrist as a miniature exhibition space. The company was young, but its creative identity had already appeared. Technique should never exist without theater, and theater should never be empty of watchmaking substance. In 1960, Corum introduced the first Admiral's cup. The original watch looked very different from the model collectors recognize today. It used a square case, and its caseback carried a hand-engraved sailing boat and the name Admiral's Cup. Most importantly, it demonstrated that a water-resistant watch did not have to imitate the standard round diving watch. The transformation came later. Under the creative influence of Jean-René Bonnoit, Rian's son, the Admiral's Cup acquired a 12-sided case and 12-colored nautical pennants in place of conventional hour markers. Those pennants were based on the International Code of Signals used at sea. Corum had changed the dial into a visual language. The result was instantly recognizable: part sports watch, part maritime instrument, and part piece of graphic art. You did not need to read its name. The 12 flags told you it was a Corum. In 1964, Corum performed one of its most famous acts of horological provocation. It took a genuine American $20 double eagle gold coin, carefully opened it, and installed an ultra-thin movement inside. The coin itself became the watch. Its original surfaces remained visible, allowing the object to exist simultaneously as currency, sculpture, and timepiece. The coin watch became one of Corum's defining creations and acquired remarkable cultural visibility. It appeared on the wrists of political figures, business leaders, and artists. Ronald Reagan was photographed wearing one on the cover of Time magazine in 1981. Richard Nixon and other prominent figures were also associated with the model. It was luxurious, but not discreet. Corum had taken a familiar symbol of value and asked an unexpected question. What if money did not merely buy the watch? What if money became the watch? Corum's experiments accelerated. The Buckingham anticipated the later appetite for oversized watches, presenting bold proportions long before large cases became fashionable. The Romvels removed the hour numerals from the dial and engraved them directly into the bezel, leaving the center unusually clean. In 1970, the feather watch used genuine bird feathers to form delicate, naturally patterned dials. Each surface was different because nature could not reproduce the same feather twice. The company also created watches built around gold ingots, decorative craftsmanship, and unconventional materials. Corum's contribution was not one single complication or movement architecture. It was the persistent expansion of what a luxury watch could look like. A dial did not have to be painted metal. A case did not have to be round. Hour markers did not even have to appear on the dial. For Corum, tradition was raw material, not a boundary. Let us pause for a moment. If detailed stories of watch brands, forgotten inventions, and the rivalries behind great timepieces interest you, follow Horology Guide. A new journey through watchmaking history arrives every week. In the 1970s, Corum created one of the most unmistakable automotive watches ever made. The Rolls-Royce watch transformed the front grille of the luxury automobile into a watch case. The famous radiator shape framed the dial, while the Spirit of Ecstasy appeared above it. This was not modern merchandise placed beneath a licensed logo. It was an attempt to translate the architecture of a motor car directly onto the wrist. The partnership has been described by Corum as the first of its kind between a prestigious automobile manufacturer and a watch company. The result could be elegant, eccentric, or excessive, depending on the viewer. But that tension was central to Corum's identity. The company was not searching for universal approval. It was searching for recognition, and there was no danger of mistaking a miniature Rolls-Royce grille for another conservative Swiss dress watch. Corum's greatest technical icon began with independent watchmaker Vincent Calabrese. Calabrese imagined a watch in which the movement would no longer disappear behind a dial. Its components would be arranged in a straight line, forming a narrow mechanical column. He presented his patented creation at the Geneva International Inventors Show in 1977. Where it received a gold medal, René Banwart recognized its potential, and Corum acquired the rights to develop the idea. After years of refinement, the Golden Bridge was unveiled at the Basel Fair in 1980. Its hand-engraved baguette movement stood vertically inside a transparent case. The barrel, gear, train, and regulating organ followed one another in a line, allowing the flow of energy to be visually understood. At the height of the quartz crisis, Corum did not hide its mechanical movement. It placed it center stage. The Golden Bridge was created from Calabrese's linear movement and introduced by Corum in 1980. It was more than a skeleton watch. A conventional skeletonized movement removes material from a familiar architecture. Corum and Calabrese began with a different architecture entirely. The movement became the spine of the watch. Transparency created its own technical difficulties. Any imperfection could be seen. Every bridge, screw, and engraved surface became part of the dial. Later interpretations expanded the idea through tourbillons, titanium constructions, automatic winding, and new case forms. The Golden Bridge's achievement was philosophical as much as mechanical. It demonstrated that a movement did not need to serve a design hidden above it. The movement itself could be the entire design. Let's go back to the Admiral's cup watch, which continued evolving from a design icon into a specialized maritime instrument. The most technically significant version was the Admiral's Cup Marie, followed by the Tides. Its caliber was developed to display information essential to sailors: the time of high and low tide, Tidal range, the estimated height of the water, current strength, and the phase of the moon, this was not a decorative moon phase complication with nautical colors added around it. The indications attempted to translate the gravitational relationship between Earth, Moon, and Sea onto the wrist. The project reportedly required several years of development and specialist maritime knowledge. It captured Corum at its best. The watch looked unmistakable, but the spectacle had a purpose. The colored pennants communicated the brand. The 12-sided case established the architecture, and the movement connected precise mechanical watchmaking with one of nature's largest repeating cycles. Corum's official history identifies the Admiral's cup tides and its CO 277 movement as providing moon phase, tide, tidal range, water height, and current information. Corum's search for unusual materials extended beyond feathers and gold coins. The company produced a watch dial from meteorite discovered in Greenland and associated with explorer Robert Peary. The crystalline pattern of the metal gave the dial a structure formed far beyond Earth. Elsewhere, Corum explored miniature marquetry, enamel, stone, sculpture, and meteorous dar. The objective was not novelty for its own sake. These materials changed the relationship between watch and owner. A conventional dial could be reproduced. A feather, mineral structure, meteorite fragment, or handmade composition possessed natural variations that resisted exact duplication. Corum understood that rarity could be created by limited production, but it could also be created by material itself. A watch might display hours and minutes like any other, yet its dial could contain a fragment of space, a piece of currency, an organic surface, or a miniature work of art. Corum says it became the first watch company to use Greenland meteorite for a watch dial. By 2000, Corum needed fresh energy. The company was acquired by Severin Wonderman, the entrepreneur behind Gucci's watch success. His signature contribution was the bubble. Its enormous, domed sapphire crystal magnified and distorted the dial beneath, making the watch impossible to ignore. Skulls, dragons, roulette wheels, and artworks turned the bubble into a platform for bold, limited editions. Some collectors loved it, others hated it. Both reactions meant it worked. Corum had entered the new millennium with one of the most distinctive watches of its era. After Wonderman's era, Corum entered another period of change. In 2013, the brand was acquired by the group now known as City Champ Watch and Jewelry. Yet Corum faced a familiar challenge. The Golden Bridge, Admiral Coin Watch, and Bubble were all icons, but each spoke a different visual language. The question was never whether Corum had great ideas. The question was which idea should define the brand. Through every change, one principle remained. A Corum should be recognized before its name is read. In April 2025, during its 70th anniversary year, Corum returned to Swiss ownership. The management buyout was led by watchmaker Hasso Mehmetovic, who had risen through the company after graduating from watchmaking school in LA local. Supported by Swiss investors, the new leadership brought Corum's archives, patents, and industrial assets back under Swiss control. In 2026, the renewed company introduced new Admiral models, proprietary calibers, and sapphire-cased Golden Bridge watches. After years of uncertainty, Corum was writing a new chapter. Corum has never followed the safe route. It transformed coins into watches. It turned the movement itself into the design through the Golden Bridge. It gave maritime watchmaking a distinctive visual identity, and with the bubble, it proved that even distortion could become a signature. Corum's greatest achievement may not be a single watch. It is the courage to remain unmistakable. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Horology Guide for more documentaries on the people, inventions, and rivalries that shaped watchmaking history. The key is already in your hand. The next chapter is waiting to be unlocked. See you next week.